Few cars have reached the status of legend like the Toyota Supra. From the late 90s to the early 2000s, and even today, it remains the ultimate dream car for me. This was the one, and now I finally get to build it my way. Now here's the thing, finding a clean Supra costs a ton of money, and I ain't got a lot of money, but I have skills, so I started with this car. But like all dreams that begin in this shop, this one started as a nightmare. It was an absolute basket case that needed absolutely everything to be touched because there wasn't a single panel on this car that wasn't damaged, broken, or needed to be replaced. And thankfully, because of this YouTube channel, I was able to do that. To get here, I needed to use all of my skills and resources just to get it to this stage right now.
I've cried like that since Titanic's.
And in today's episode, we are going to attempt to build this engine from start to finish and fire this thing up on the engine dyno to hear it for the very first time. Hopefully nothing goes wrong, hopefully nothing breaks, and if we don't make at least 1,000 horsepower, then I have absolutely failed. Now before we go over to Real Street, I need to get all of the suspension underneath this car because we are going to be putting a lift in this area, and that is coming very shortly. So let's get the suspension under this car, get this thing out of the way, and head over to Real Street. In a previous episode, I stripped down the suspension and John helped me powder coat it. We used the EASTWOOD gear I keep in the shop, and every piece looks brand new and ready for assembly. With no time to waste, I start by pressing in all of my new wheel bearings into the hubs. When using this much force to press something in, you want to make sure that your parts are perfectly up and down, that way you don't damage anything on the way in. I am putting all new parts on this suspension because I am completely refreshing this car and I want it to be better than new. Now, one of the things that made the Evo look so good was when we changed the seatbelt colors to the outside color of the car. It's kind of very similar, it wasn't the same, but we're gonna do the exact same thing with the Supra, and we're gonna put dark green on these. It's gonna look awesome. Time to pack these up, get them over to Seatbelt Planet, and we'll see what they look like when they come back, because they'll be back by the time Matt gets here, which is gonna be later on, to install that beautiful interior into the Supra. Now I press in the bearing seal along with the dust shield and then move on to all of the suspension arms so that I'm able to get everything pressed into place. One of the things that I had to do was clean out some of the rust that had accumulated inside of these holes. We did a lot of powder coat work to all of the suspension and it still looks very, very nice. And this has been banged around because we moved shops and we've also kind of left it over there in the corner where I've actually kicked it a couple times. It still looks really good. The EASTWOOD powder is really nice. Now that we have our first ball joint pressed in, there's only about 50 million more things to press in and hopefully we don't damage any of our powder. It's going under the car anyway. Let's get this done. So much work left to go. After pressing in the ball joints and some of the bushings, I install new C-clips. One of the things you got to be very cautious about is tearing your boots when installing them onto your ball joints. As you can see here, I'm happy because I didn't do that. Also, there was a ton of rust inside of these aftermarket parts. I grease the heck out of these aftermarket parts because they are steel, and when they're put together, moisture will build up in between this and it will literally seize this on, never to be taken off again without destroying the threads or just ruining the part in general. So I do end up greasing it up quite a bit. I wipe off the excess when I'm done, but yeah, it's a good practice to do if you want to make sure your parts are going to last, especially because these cost a lot of money and I don't have any more left because I spent it all on this car. This is a really big moment because I've been waiting a very long time to start assembling this car. There's been so many components and so many things that I've need to find because they weren't with the car. Now that everything is going together, the suspension is looking brand new again. I'm really excited because now I'm gonna finally see all of the suspension under the car and I can't wait to see all the components together. All right, you can see I have a locking mechanism on this nut right here, and then there is that C-clip right there that you clip over to lock that into place. Now, normally this is not too hard of a job when you're up in the air, but as you can see, we're doing like we did back in the high school days with jack stands, a light, and a prayer, because I can barely get my hand up there in this position that I'm in. Maybe a little hammer. Where's my hammer? Oh. I love this hammer. It's literally perfect for everything. Oh, there's a brake line in the way. Oh, let's turn it around. Oh, this is not easy. Oh. It's in! It's in! Alright, I'm getting out from underneath here. This is uncomfortable. With all the arms in place, it's time to set in our beautiful Fortune Auto coilovers, along with our knuckles that have been fully refurbished. This thing is coming together and it's starting to look really good. The hardest part about doing any of this suspension is the fact that it has been apart for a very long time, and I have to figure out where every single bolt goes. Thankfully, I've documented this on YouTube, so that's how I've been able to find them. Now, one of the coolest things about these lower control arms here is that they use a factory Mark III Toyota Supra ball joint. So this is replaceable, and now I can keep the arms serviceable completely all the way. Because before you couldn't change anything except the bushings, those yellow bushings right there. The ball joint was not serviceable. If you did, it would probably crack the control arm because it was, you know, pressed in there tightly, I guess. But now we have a solution for that. So let's get these installed. I got the coilover just sitting in place. That definitely needs to go down. We are basically slammed. This is lower than my mini truck was. These control arms are really well built, and the fact that you can use factory parts and aftermarket bushings with them just makes them that much better. Not only that, I'm using my Bolt Depot bolts to make sure that I can get everything into place without having to make any trips to the hardware store. This is my brand new, beautifully refurbished and new wheel bearings knuckle powder coating done by my boy John and the Eastwood powder on this thing. Let's get this guy into place and see how it looks. I don't have another castle nut. Fast forward to tomorrow when I get another castle nut from Amazon. The beauty of technology and Amazon is the fact that we could get this the very next day. This looks so good. I am very, very pleased with how good this is turning out. I mean, come on, guys. That looks amazing. All the zinc-coated hardware, all the brand new parts and the refurbished parts together, along with those Fortune Auto coilovers, it just sets it off. I mean, it's so good. I mean, the green to the gold and yellow, it works really well together. The only thing, I mean, I would like to black that out, but honestly, I'm not worried about it right now. That's a later problem because we still have a lot of stuff to go. As you can see over here, we have a missing end link on this side as well as the back. We also need to put a brake setup on this. Now, I am looking at the CTSV brake setup. Basically, you get an adapter bracket, put this in place, put everything on there, and then once we have that in place, we will measure our offset and find out what kind of wheel we can tuck behind here. We will be able to tuck a pretty nice wheel nice and close because as you can see, that fender edge is nice and tight on that. It's slightly rolled out. I don't know if it's going to come across on camera here, but you can see that it slightly bulges out a little bit. Not a lot, but it does look really good. And the exact same thing is going on here in the rear. Oh my goodness, this paint just looks so good. It almost glows in certain lights. And then at certain angles, it looks almost black. It gives a purplish blue hue to it. I love this paint. You can see here, we have the fender rolled nice and tight. We will be able to tuck a pretty nice wheel right up to the edge of that quarter panel, but take a look at that rear suspension. It looks so good. All right, the suspension on the Supra looks amazing, and that's thanks to this guy right here, but now I'm here to help him because he wants to get this car right here. We're taking a look at it. This is a G80 M3. Now, it's a brand new car, but it has a lot of modifications done to it. And like any BMW, if you touch a button, that means you get a code. And we've scanned this car now, thanks to today's sponsor, Carly, and it says that this car is in very bad condition. Very bad condition. This thing has 88 issues, and it only has 8,800 miles. But that is because there's a lot of modifications going on to this car. This car does have air suspension as well as a downpipe and a tune, because if you own a BMW and don't have a downpipe and a tune, who are you anyway? Thank you. All right, so now we've scanned the car, and it says here that it has 4 issues with the engine that are actually critical issues. The issue is that it says that it has the low pressure fuel system electrical fuel pump pressure too low when the fuel tank level is low. So I'm assuming this car was just getting it at one point and the fuel was low and it threw this code. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but the good thing is they have a smart mechanic feature here that you can use to figure out what is going on. So now it categorizes it. It gives you a description. It gives you the issue of the category and its potential occurrences or consequences of things that can happen while this thing is basically throwing that code. Now, John and I clear the codes because we want to make sure that these aren't issues from the tune that is on the car. And as you can see, the codes are cleared, and they even give you a little reminder here to check back 2 to 3 days later just to make sure this is not a reoccurring problem. Now, we're going to go into the features and see what we can do to customize this car to our own liking, because John, you know, he needs a cool car. He needs it to look cool for him.
I want to make it mine.
All right, now we're gonna code a feature onto this car that is something that's really useful, especially when you got your groceries, be able to have to hit that button because you can't because your hands are full. You go over here and you click this right there. Now, we're coding that now. There we go. And now it's coding that into the ECU, and we should be able to walk to the back of the car with the key in our pocket, stick it under the bumper, and it will open the trunk. Possibly. It says that the feature's on this car. Let's find out now. Moment of truth. Let's see if this actually works. Ha! There you go. Look at that. New features unlocked. That's really cool.
That's freaking
I bet you there's even more features, John, that we can put on your car here. Because you're going to buy it now, right?
Yeah, flames. I want flames.
You look like a BMW guy.
I want flames.
Pops and crackles.
I want all the pops.
I want to keep my boy safe. And what I notice here is that your seatbelt reminder is off. So I'm going to go ahead and code that on right now. And just like that, we have a changed code to where we have our reminder that is going to keep reminding my boy put his seatbelt on while driving in this very fast car, because it has a downpipe and a tune. Stop worrying about overpaying at a mechanic shop and get empowered by using Carly's app to make informed decisions and save money on your car repairs today. Also, you can click the link in the description below, use the code that's on screen right now, JackBuildsIt, and save 15% off your Carly purchase. And now, John, you have a car that you know you can go park up at the Stance Nation meets and get your blessed pose on.
There it is.
Now that we got all that figured out,
There it is.
let's get back to building the Supra.
Because I'm a Beamer boy.
All right, guys, you know that Candyman painted this car and it's looking amazing, but I've been keeping it looking nice with Bling Sauce. Now, I've been working together with them to do something really cool. And that is, one of you guys is going to get the opportunity to come here, hang out on a Saturday. We're going to go to a Cars and Coffee. We're going to take this thing for a rib, grab some lunch, and just enjoy the day and show you guys the behind the scenes things that are going on here that no one else has access to right now, which is basically like secret projects. Give you a full tour of the shop. It's not a big shop, but it'll be fun, I promise. And that's going to be because of Bling Sauce. Now, the first 100 people to go over there and use the code JBIFree is going to get a free sample blitz. And it's basically going to be all of the stuff that I like and I have in my kit. Now, this is pretty crazy. I never imagined in all of my life that I would have a special kit that was made by me for you guys. This has all of the products that I really like in it, and you can also customize this and add different products to it if you choose to. But if you pick up this kit, it's going to have everything in here that I like and that I use on all of my cars here. So That's how you get entered, and that's how you can come over here and see the shop and hang out. Today is a big day. I'm here at Real Street Performance, and we are going to dive into building the heart of my Toyota Supra, the 2JZ engine. And I'll be working side by side with one of their builders, Brian, and we're going to be going through the tips, tricks, and the little secrets that you don't know about when it comes to building these engines. It's not just putting everything together, even though we have all new parts. We're going to walk you through the steps that you need to do to make the engine be able to handle and hold this power for a very long time, or at least until my right foot gets a hold of that throttle. We're going to tear down and modify the stock oil pump and be going over a ton of details that most people overlook. And of course, we're going to be showing you all of the parts that are going into this engine so that we can make 1,000 horsepower. We're going to take you through the entire process, start to finish, of getting this engine built and engine dynoed. I am really excited about this. This is awesome. Let's get Brian in here and get this thing built.
All right, Jack, you ready to build this thing?
I mean, I'm not ready, but I'm ready to watch you do some stuff.
All right, let's go.
So what do we have here? Explain to me what is going on in this short block assembly.
So we sell this the most. This is a Mazworks short block that's already pre-assembled. This is a Mazworks like 1200 package. So you got CP pistons, Brian Crowder rods, tread and wrist pins, a stock crank. It's going to be a dyno compression. So a pretty basic street driving short block.
So it's basically the best engine that they're going to build here, and just saying like it's mine, so they're making extra power for it. I heard that this is actually built by Gandalf, if you didn't know.
Yep.
He's got a gigantic beard. They call him Gandalf Mazurowski.
You shall not pass!
Dude, they did a great job on this. It looks pretty freaking awesome. Okay, so I know you were telling me that there is some things that you need to modify from the factory with the oil pump.
So we're going to take the oil pump plate off that holds the gears and just make sure there's not any flash inside from when the manufacturer built it. Sometimes they don't clean all that out. It also comes dry. There's like no lubrication in the oil pump. So we're going to, lubricate everything that needs to be. There's a pressure relief valve on the top that if the pressure gets too high, this valve opens and allows the pressure to go back into the system. And sometimes that piston can get seized in there because, again, they don't lubricate anything. So we'll take that apart, lube it up. PHR sells a nice little cap that has a double O-ring design. So sometimes it will seep oil out of there after you put it all together. It's kind of annoying. So that will fix that problem. Sometimes you can port them, but I don't think you need to in this case.
We're not going for like, the mode in 2000.
Right.
Yeah, that's next week.
Usually what I do when I first get a block is I just like to make sure that all the dowels are in its place. You have dowels on your bell housing where your trans bolts up to. You have dowels for your oil pan, for your upper pan to the block, dowels for your oil pump. Another thing is the keyways and the crank.
Sweet, so let's get started.
Let's do it.
Just like when doing really good body work, the first step to anything that you want to do and make it last without any issues popping up is clean. So Brian and I start right away by cleaning the entire engine. We clean off the camshafts, we clean off the block, and we clean off the top of the head along with the head gasket. As Dave over at Head Games instructed, we used cam shield on the camshaft because it supports the first startup. We don't want any issues to happen where we have issues with this thing getting damaged. It's just that simple. I don't want to spend more money. I don't have any more to spend. Here Brian lays on the head gasket and he points out the oil passage so you know exactly where this is supposed to go. It can go in the wrong spot, and if you do that, you're going to have problems. Here you can see we're cleaning off the nuts and the washers along with the bolts, and that's because there can be some crud on there sometimes. Once they're clean, we lube them up and get them ready to go into the block. We install the head before we install the head studs because we don't want to have any damage caused by the head stud to the head, causing debris to fall into the top of the engine. That would not be good.
You'll see on the washers for the head studs that this is called a cat's paw. So you want this surface down on the head. So when you go to tighten the nut onto the washer, it doesn't spin the washer. The point of that is for torque scatter. You do not want torque scatter, which is you want an even preload of every single fastener to bolt the head onto the block with. We'll take the caps off of this, get the foam out, and then we'll put the washers in and drop the studs in.
I got a question for you though.
Sure.
So every time I've heard people talk about head studs, they all have different opinions on how to install them. Because I've heard that you bring it all the way down to the bottom and then you back it off a half a turn.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the way you would do it.
So I bottom it out and then I turn it a quarter turn. I loosen it a quarter turn.
Okay.
So it's in its neutral state.
Gotcha. So then that way it's not going to turn, push down the side of that block.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Question answered. It's been an absolute blessing to work together with the guys at Real Street and guys like Brian. They give me the confidence and show me a lot of the tips and tricks that I need to know, so the next time I build one of these engines, I feel a lot more confident on my own. I'm super thankful for these guys, and I really appreciate this. With the cam caps out of the way, the washers and head studs go into place. As you can see here, I'm smiling, and that's because the guys are messing with me in the background saying, don't break anything. And I hope I don't. That's pretty cool. So I've torqued things down before, but never with as much anxiety as this, because, you know, I want this thing to last and I want it to run good and don't want to have any issues. And I swing hammers. I don't turn wrenches as much. I mean, I guess I turn wrenches, but not in as precise of a, you know, I swing hammers precisely. That's what I do. Now Brian applies lube to all the areas where the cams will rest in the top of the cam caps, and then we install our cams. These are GSC S2 cams. Along with everything else that is in this head, it's all GSC product. Here Brian shows me exactly how he sets the cams in place and what he likes to do. He sets the cams both with the keyway position for the cam gear at about 11 o'clock. We install all the cams and then we snug them down nice and even. Here he's pointing out to me which cam lobes have the most pressure on them and how he likes to set this in place. As he describes here, you can see the cams move down nice and evenly. Now we install the camshaft seals and the front two remaining camshaft caps, along with a little bit of RTV on the edges. Serious face. Now I torque all the cam caps into place and install the rear timing cover plate. Here Brian installs these beautiful PHR cam gears, and then we set them in place, and I believe these are 2 degrees advanced for these little keys that are in there. The cam gear bolt gets some red Loctite because we don't want this thing spinning off. Now Brian carefully presses in the front main seal. Now we start to disassemble that oil pump and we find some new discoveries.
On it, but wasn't great. It was starting to corrode. So the point of this is if you have 2050 in your motor and it's cold outside and you go to start the car and your oil pressure gets really high, it'll blow the oil filter out.
Now we install the piston back into place, clean the rest of this piece, and then lube everything up. Now with the parts cleaned and lubricated, Brian starts the reassembly process of the oil pump.
While we have the oil pump off, I just wanted to show you. So this hole for the tensioner is a through hole to the pump. So if you don't put red Loctite or blue Loctite, whatever you prefer, it will leak. When you get a factory bolt, it will come with a little bit of Loctite. I like to add a little bit more of my choosing to the other threads that aren't coated. And if you have a used one, just clean it off with a wire wheel like so, and then just apply your thread locked, whichever you prefer, blue or red. Just wanted to note that because that can be an easy mistake that you forget, and then you'll get an oil leak and it will come out of your front cover, timing cover, and you'll wonder where it's coming from. Usually most people think it's the front main seal right away, and then they'll do the seal, then it'll still leak, and it's just a good practice so then you don't deal with all those problems. So
I would do that.
I don't think we've ever finished each other's sentences.
It's amazing the journey a car can take you on, from a complete clapped out piece of junk to a show-winning street car. This has been an awesome journey, and I can't believe how far we've come. I'm super thankful to everybody who's participated in this build, including the guys at Real Street, because without them, none of this would be possible. With all the pulleys and the components in place, we set the timing and get it ready to go on the dyno. Brian checks the valve lash with the feeler gauges, and we have everything perfect right across the board. This fitting on the water pump isn't needed, so it gets tapped and closed off with an NPT fitting. The oil baffle and pickup tube go into place, everything gets torqued down, and then we pour a little bit of oil down into the pickup tube. Now the oil pan goes into place and we seal up the bottom for good. Ryan now installs the dampener pulley, and then we flip it over and get started on the top. As I install the VVTi solenoid, I can't help but think to myself, this engine actually started life as a non-turbo 2JZ GE, and now this engine is going back into my Supra as a fully built 2JZ GTE VVTi. This is insane, the transformation that this thing has taken on. And simply what that means is it went from one of the least desirable engines to one of the most desirable engines that they made for the Supra. While I get the seals in place on these beautiful Plasma Man valve covers, Brian degrees the engine so that everything is going to run perfectly on the dyno. We hope. All right, Brian is buttoning up everything right now. We have everything in place. We're gonna move this over to the engine dyno. All of this looks really good. This engine is coming together very nicely. It has been timed, it has been degreed. We are going to put in our sensors and all of that stuff. So now we're moving over to the engine room. This is the moment where all of my nerves started to kick in. I was feeling very anxious and not sure of the outcome. Honestly, this is a very scary moment for anybody when starting an engine for the first time, because all of the time, effort, and work that goes into this, as well as the money, can be ruined in seconds. You can see we have different color valve covers on there, and that's because I accidentally made the mistake and ordered the non-VVTi valve covers. Thankfully, Mark over at Real Street had VVTi Plasma Man valve covers, and we just swapped those out onto my engine. There's a lot of really nice parts going on to this engine. We have a 7175 precision turbo, injector dynamic injectors, PHR manifold, and precision wastegates, along with the dress-up JD Customs hardware and NGK spark plugs. I'm also going to be running this beautiful Plasma Man intake along with their dual fuel rails. This thing is going to look a little different when we are in the final phases of putting this engine together. We are about to start this thing for the very first time. Now, I can't tell you how excited and nervous I am at the exact same time about this, but I feel good about this, and I think it's going to go really well. And we're gonna make some power today. Now, let's get this thing warmed up, seat these rings, do an oil change, and then once we get that oil change done, let's make some power. So, yeah, all right, let's do this. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, awesome. I am so ready to hear this thing rip. I'm so excited, guys. This is freaking awesome. That was pretty awesome to see. We just made a lot of power for pump gas, and you know, we're gonna be driving this car a lot. We're not gonna always have ethanol on hand. So check out the numbers. This is awesome. So we made about 720 horsepower and 488 foot-pounds of torque. Now we are going to change over to some way better fuel, a lot spicier. This is just touching the surface of it, and there was more from what you guys were saying on pump gas. We could have gone
that's
higher.
about as little as we can make, unless you want us to really go out of our way to slow it down.
Yeah,
I mean, 18 pounds of boost, that was wastegate spring. So.
After breaking in the engine and changing the oil, it's time to turn this thing up. We like everything that we see so far. Everything is going really well.
So the spark plugs, before I put them in, I always label which cylinder they're married to. So we can look at them on the table, look at the ground straps. This is 4, kind of wore off there, but just a good representation of what cylinders are doing what. And then we'll start with the compression test, and then we'll do a leak down test. And what's nice about the leak down test is that when an ATI is installed, it has the degrees all the way around from top dead center to 360.
Okay.
So there's always a mirrored cylinder on a 2J. So 1 and 6 are mirrored, 2 and 5 are mirrored, and 3 and 4 are mirrored, which means they're both at top dead center at the same time. But when you do a leak down, you want it on the compression stroke. So I'll start with cylinder 1, so that will be at top dead center. And then if you do the math, you just you divide 360, by 3. So it's 120 is a mirrored cylinder, and then 240 is a mirrored cylinder, and 1 and 6 is top dead center.
Brian now cranks over the engine to check the compression as well as do a leak down test. And as you can see here on the paper, everything turned out really good. This is a testimony to all of the machine work done by MazWorks as well as Head Games. Now, this is where things could have gone really bad. We had a injector malfunction causing one of the cylinders to start to run lean right as we were about to make power. But this was literally the best thing that could have happened because we had it on the engine dyno monitoring everything, and we were able to catch it and stop it before something catastrophic happened. Now, this is what we came to do. Let's make some power. All right, this is the run. This is the one. We've made 919. It's a lot of power, but now we have to do what we've came here to do, and that's to make over 1,000 horsepower. 1,000 horsepower. I know I make that joke a lot, but it's because it's been the goal, the dream, and the vision to build this car to the point where it's exactly what I envisioned, and we are almost there right now. So we're about to do the run. Let's do this. Yes, dude, this is insane. I am so thankful for everybody here. All of these guys have been extremely helpful. They've shown me so many things that I didn't know about Sujay, and they've walked me through this. It's been a pleasure being here. I can't believe we made this kind of power. We still have a long way to go. There's still so much more to do. We got to keep moving. And a lot of work indeed. We have so much more to go on this car. We haven't even got it on the ground yet because we're still waiting on wheels and tires. There are so many things that need to happen, but I'm so thankful for everybody who has got this car to this point right now. The list is so long and I can't remember everybody, so I'm not going to be able to give that shout out right now, but I just want to thank all of you who support the Jack Builds It channel. It is an absolutely insane thing to think that because of you guys, I was able to get this shop, move closer to my family, and continue to build these amazing cars. I thank you guys so much for watching from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much. We got a lot of work to go. SEMA is right around the corner. I got goosebumps, but I think with all the help from all of my friends, as well as all of the people who have been supporting this build, we can still make it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Oh my gosh. There's still so much work to go. All right. When you start to have panic attacks, all you do is just lift your arms like this and it goes away. Nope. It doesn't work.